I'm sorry, but autism won this week. Hello, citizens of Stinktopia. First of all, yes, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I am blonde right now. This is just a this week occurrence. Next week I will be back to my beautiful silver, so I hope. Also, there may not be a video next week. I am moving next week. Take a shot every time I say next week. But yeah, I'm moving Wednesday of next week or Wednesday of when this video goes up. But so I'm not sure if I will have a video. Whoops. By the time this video goes up, the new Fiona and Cake series on Max will be releasing in like 4 days, I think. So it's getting me really excited. And has kind of been making me go back into Adventure Time, even though I was just recently watching Adventure Time. If you can't tell, I am always watching Adventure Time. It's always on the mind. Adventure Time is my all-time favorite show. When I don't know what to watch, I'll watch it. When I want to watch it, I'll watch it. If I'm not doing anything, it's on in the background. But so yeah, that's why I'm talking about it today. Season 6 of Adventure Time for me is when I really remember uh, the show's like emotional maturity really coming out to play. And it has very memorable, emotionally mature episodes for me. One of those episodes is the episode we're going to be talking about today in this video. That episode being episode 6 of season 6, entitled Breezy, which aired June 5th, 2014, which would have made me about 10 years old while watching this for the first time ever. I'm just gonna hop into the episode and kind of, talk about my thoughts of it while giving like a synopsis of what's going on. So the episode starts with Dr. Princess kind of just asking Finn how he's doing because a little earlier in the season, he recently lost his arm. Rest in peace, Finn's arm. And he learned that his dad is a douche. So that's fun. But yeah, so Dr. Princess is just checking up on. Oh, and he has a flower in his arm. I didn't write that in my script, but I feel like that's actually extremely important for this episode. So Finn kind of tells her that he doesn't really know how he's feeling, but he kind of just isn't feeling anything at all. Which, as a 10-year-old, I probably just brushed that off, not thinking much of it. My main worries were, when's the next episode of Adventure Time going to be released? And can I get a new stuffed animal? Now, as the 19-year-old woman I am, I think that's a really profound subject for a children's show to dive into. I'm the type of person who just like never really knows how I feel. My emotion has to be like super strong to the point where it's debilitating for me to actually be able to pinpoint where I fall. But even then, it's hard to conceptualize how I'm feeling and really vocalize it. So this is already very relatable. And that feeling isn't played off as a joke in this episode. Dr. Princess is like, hey, Finn, this is not really good for you. Maybe just, go out there, get some pep in your step. Try to just, start feeling better. Which, I'll give it. Dr. Princess is not a therapist. So just her being like, you gotta get back out there. It's not amazing advice. But it's not just like played off as a joke and Dr. Princess doesn't like laugh in his face. Finn is like literally depressed. Just like me circa November to, I'd say, February of my first year in college. So I'm just like him. The way Finn was walking in the woods when he met Breezy, that was me walking on campus to class every day. And so Finn starts using princesses as a way to cope with his lack of feeling, to try and make him feel something rather than nothing at all. Just like Clairo's hit song, Feel Something, from her debut album, Immunity, released in 2019. For instance, he goes to Crab Princess's birthday party just to make out with her. Like, okay, at least say you wanted to go there for a good time, not your whole reason being, I want to make out with someone. I don't go to parties to begin with, but if that was my reasoning, whew, I would get a better reason. And Breezy, the bee heap friend at Crab Princess's birthday party, kind of enables this behavior because she's got her eyes on the prize, and that prize is the flower growing out of Finn's arm. Because she's a bee. I don't need to explain that. She enables this behavior because he's like, yeah, Dr. Princess told me I have to, make myself feel good. He kind of describes that of like, my good vibes feed the flower, make it healthy. So Breezy, because she wants that flower, that she wants that boy's flower. That's a weird thing to say. She's like, I will help you out because you need to keep that flower around. So she becomes like his wing woman, which is funny because bees have wings. Yeah, she like is helping Finn make out with those princesses. Woo, she's actually a really good wing woman, but also I'm not sure if she is because like half the princesses in Ooh are just head over heels for Finn at any given moment. So I really don't know how much work you'd have to do to, get a little smooching. Also, apparently flowers that grow out of your arm survive purely on like your good vibes, which I don't know if that's scientifically accurate. But I am going to be taking a botany class this semester. So after this semester, I guess I will get back on that question of if there's any scientific basis behind that. You know, as a kid, this episode always made me a little bit uncomfortable because I didn't want to watch Finn running around Ooh, making out with princesses. That was like kind of the last thing I wanted to watch. Especially as a 10-year-old? No, thank you. I kind of don't want to watch that now. Now, as the very mature woman I am, who still watches children's cartoons, I think this episode does a really good representation of like giving into your vices while coping, especially with something that you can't fully get a grasp on that you're coping. And, that also in tandem with having someone around you who, for better or worse, enables you and kind of does it out of a selfish behavior because in the end it's like they're getting something out of it. Because we see with Breezy that she doesn't really care about Finn a lot. She only cares about the flower, and she's always like, hey, that flower, you need to get better so that flower is good, baby. I don't know why I said it like that. Finn doesn't really see that Breezy is doing this out of like selfishness and just that, she wants to help him and not just his flower. But once Finn is back at the treehouse, Jake kind of comes up to him and makes a passing comment, a little joke, that the princess he's with, I think it's like frozen yogurt princess, kind of looks like Princess Bubblegum and Flame Princess. And he's like, oh, Finn, you're still hung up over PB and Flame Princess. And Finn just almost immediately gets like super aggressive, super defensive, and just leaves with Breezy because he's like, I am not hung up. You suck. I should have just written this show myself. So good. I'm making dialogue. And once he left with Breezy, he kind of expresses to her that, he's been going around town making out with all these princesses, which he thought would make him feel better, but he has still yet to feel anything. But then Breezy puts her burden on him of like, Finn, you can't let this flower die. It's your responsibility to make sure this flower lives because I have a responsibility as a queen bee. I will say though that a little bit after this interaction, Breezy kind of pulls on me when I jokingly flirt with my friends because she's like, it's a shame we can't make out because we're just such good friends. And friends like, what? And she's like, nothing. Let's go over somewhere else. Which is just like, it's honestly something I probably have said to a friend of mine. Um, but let's all just be a little honest here. Are you actually really good friends with someone if you haven't given them a little smooch before or haven't, you know, made a joke about wanting to smooch them? I don't think so. And then Breezy and Finn are victim to a hate crime. I'm not even being dramatic, actually. This is blatantly in your face. They roll up on some other bees, or should I say, float up on some other bees. I'm so sorry. That was such a bad joke. I'm so sorry. Finn like tells off the bees, but the other bees attack Finn because Breezy shouldn't be with a human boy. They call him Baloney. I don't know why I felt like I had to add that, but they do. But I don't really even feel like I need to make the real life parallels to this because it's so blatantly in your face. Like they literally get Finn gets hate crimed because he's a man. He's a human boy hanging out with a bee. Are we picking up what's being put down in like a real life setting? I know I am. And that's a hate crime. So Breezy then flies over to their hive. She gets all up in their royal jelly and becomes the queen bee she was destined to become. And then she confesses her love to Finn's flower and then kinda to him, but it's like you said the flower first, okay? I know I'm always gonna be second to the stupid flower growing out of my arm. And then she tries to guilt him into becoming a drone to collect pollen for the rest of his days. Finn rejects her and, explains that he still doesn't feel anything and he's not looking for anything serious right now. She then tries to guilt him into becoming the drone. And it's like, but Finn, I royal jellied for you, which is a weird verb. Which now I need to know, is royal jellied a euphemism? I'm just gonna leave that there. Uh, Look, if there's one thing I am on this channel, it's real. And that is a real question. But I think this can easily be related to the feeling of someone feeling like they deserve something of you because they have given up a part of themselves to, try to be with you in a sense. But that is just not how that works. Okay? Grow up. That's not how that works. If you're a manipulator like that, I don't trust you. Not to get deep into my personal life, but I was almost a victim of a situation like that. And if I'm being honest, it's an incredibly hard situation just to navigate through and to pull yourself out of. Because as the other person in this, you get in your head and you start thinking to yourself, like, wow, I really do owe this person something because they gave up something or they changed a part of themselves for me. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to realize, like, you don't owe anyone anything in any situation. Unless you owe someone money, I guess. Then I guess you kind of owe someone something. But you especially don't owe someone yourself. In any situation, no matter what they did for you, you don't owe someone you. And I think that was my biggest, like, mental hurdle to overcome while living through a situation like this. Because I felt really bad about myself. I felt like I was being a bad person. Even though I wasn't, I was just doing what I knew what was best for me. And did I kind of hurt someone in the process? Yes, but I was doing what was right for me, and what was right for me was not her. Senior year of high school, that was a wild one. But thank you for letting me relate to Adventure Time, an episode I never wanted to relate to. Back to the show. We get a change of scene. Finn is dancing it up for Lumpy Space Princess. And then Lumpy Space Princess sexually assaults Finn. Like literally what the lump girl? Sorry, that was actually probably not appropriate in this sentence, but but she's like, Finn, they kiss, they smooch, And she's like, "Is that it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't want anything more." She's like, "No, Finn, I have waited so long for you to come over here, and I deserve more. I'm getting more out of you. I'm not just a makeout sesh. I'm getting more." He's like, "No, I don't want to." And she's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna take good care of you." And cussing on her lips. I don't know why I'm making the face. I know I'm just gonna be putting in a clip of Adventure Time. But I don't know why I was like, I start making out with the camera. Most action I've gotten in months. That was not appropriate for me to say. Anyways, back to the script. But yeah, I think this again, the scene again is really hitting at the point of someone like taking something from you because they think they are owed more of you than you're willing to give, which is somewhat triggering to say for me. But like I wouldn't wish this situation upon my greatest enemy. But let's all just be a little bit honest here. Shit like this happens, and we're kind of not in control of that. No matter how much control you think you're in, something like this could always happen. Like, did I ever think my situation would happen? No. Especially not in high school. And obviously, it's not the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. I got out before it could get worse. But it still has an effect on people. And I think Adventure Time does a really good job at making a situation like this digestible. Because while, yes, it is uncomfortable to watch, it does it in a way that, like, you can still watch it and you can understand it. It's not too heavy handed in the way of, like, when I was 10, did I fully grasp what it was getting at? No, because I was 10. But I still understood to a point, like, this is not a good situation. Of course, I didn't understand, like, the sexual assault part of it and, like, depression part. But, like, you can still tell, like, shit ain't right, girl. Eventually, Finn, after that experience, he gets his arm back after Breezy comes to him in his sleep in the woods while he's still sleeping by Lumpy Space Princess. And they start singing. He envisions Princess Bubblegum, and they start singing some song about love or something. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I think this episode was when I really started to grasp the maturity of this show, especially as like rewatching into my late teen years. But it's like purely just because it's able to tackle such heavy topics as such. And then even like all the episodes leading up to this are also like pretty decently heavy. Like the tower episode, oh my god, and like the episodes of him with his dad, like that's all in season 6. So it's like starting off strong here, Cartoon Network. Now like watching this again and like really watching Adventure Time again. It wows me that a children's show is able to, kind of handle topics as such and make you understand the severity of it without just being like kind of gross. That's my thing with like adult cartoons. It's just like I don't know, they're so over the top and I'm just like, "Oh. I need it to be dumbed down but also in a subtextual kind of way extremely heavy." But yeah, now that I'm able to kind of relate to some of the topics discussed in this episode, even just a little bit, I just like can't help but think, wow, I really can't believe a kids show would and could and can, bring up a topic like this. I'm very glad that they were able to, because I think it is so important to see. Even if I was 10 when I watched this, okay? Just because I was 10 when I watched it for the first time doesn't mean I can't go back and watch Adventure Time every year, multiple times a year, and relate to it. um, but yeah, that's all I kind of have to say about this episode. I think although it still does make me a little bit uncomfortable while watching it, I think it is a really important episode. Not much else to say about it. I'm kind of thinking about doing some videos, maybe just one, maybe one long one, but talking about the Stakes miniseries, because that miniseries, oh my god, that means so much to me. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I have some other things that I want to work on too, so we'll see where that goes. And maybe I'll talk about Fiona and Cake when it starts coming out. I'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's it. Don't grow don't lose your arm. But if you do lose your arm, don't grow a flower out of your arm. But if that does happen, don't walk through the forest and find a bee who really likes your flower, because then bad things are going to start happening to you. And that is my motivational speech, my inspiration, the big kahuna. I don't know what that means, actually.